I fancy I Know the Way You're Thinking to win the Gold Cup again. Got the better of Galopin Des Champs last year, who was on a hat-trick in the blue ribbon of steeplechasing. He's a slow burner throughout the season. He normally comes to hand when the time is right. He's a horse that first time back in the John Durkin certainly needed the race, and I think by March 2026 he'll be cherry ripe again.
Galopin Des Champs is going to regain his crown. I believe it. I think he'll have a different campaign this year, but there's no horse in training, in my opinion, that's as good as him. And I know he's getting on, but the talent is still there. He's going to win the 2026 Cheltenham Gold Cup.
This year's Gold Cup is going to be absolutely fascinating. Galopin Des Champs is trying to come back and regain his crown, but I think Grey Dawning is massively overpriced. I thought his win in the Betfair Chase was very, very good. That was a rating off 166. I'm sure he's going to go up into the mid-70s after that, and I think it's a wide open race bar Galopin Des Champs. So for me, Grey Dawning is a cracking each way bet.
The Gold Cup again looks like an open event. Galopin Des Champs coming back to try and regain his crown. That's a difficult enough thing to do. I know the way you're thinking, nothing wrong with him really, apart from maybe his price is tight enough at the top of the market. Maybe a bit of recency bias at play here, but couldn't be anything other than impressed by Grey Dawning in the Betfair Chase. He's got Cheltenham Festival winning form in the past, and he will be aimed directly towards the race, maybe with one run in between. But I think Grey Dawning maybe looks a little bit overpriced for the Cheltenham Gold Cup.
Cheltenham Gold Cup, the blue ribbon event itself. I know the way you're thinking, won the race 12 months ago. It's hard to see Galopin Des Champs coming back personally. I think ignore the reappearance run of last year's winner. I know the way you're thinking, he could still be the horse to beat.
Gold Cup, I'd want to take a flyer at this stage because I'm not quite sure where we are with Galopin Des Champs, who's going to be 10 by the time he lines up. I know the way you're thinking on his reappearance didn't exactly set the world alight. So I'd have a go at the Jukebox man, who's run really well at the track before. That was over hurdles, obviously, and when he finished second in the Albert Bartlett. His season was curtailed last year, we know, but he looked good on his reappearance, and I think he's the right sort of horse at the prices now for the race. That's got to be a likely destination for him. We'll see what happens at Christmas, but I'd be in that camp at the prices, the Jukebox man at the moment.
Cheltenham Gold Cup, the blue ribbon of the week to complete the big four. I think it's going to go the way of last year's winner. I know the way you're thinking. He put Galopin Des Champs in his place. Galopin Des Champs obviously a year older this time round, and on the evidence of 12 months ago, I think I know the way you're thinking for Gavin Cromwell will become a back-to-back Gold Cup winner.
Well, I think you can make a case for so many in this year's Gold Cup, but I have to say my money would be with Gaelic Warrior. He was so impressive in the John Durkin. I don't think he had an overly hard race. It'll be really interesting to see how they campaign him leading up to March, but he's a bit of a mercurial character, a bit of an enigma, but I think the Mullins team are finally getting a grip on him, and I think he's the young pretender in the field.
And in the Gold Cup, I can't help but thinking, I know the way you're thinking.
When it comes to the Gold Cup, it's hard to go against the reigning champ in my view. I know the way you're thinking. If you look at the runners that he raced against in last year's Gold Cup when he won, almost all of them are now going to be double digits at the turn of the year. And have we seen any young bucks come along? I'm not so sure just yet. He's a young buck himself. We still don't know the ceiling of his ability, and I think he will turn up primed for the day and very hard to beat in the defence of his crown.
It would really be quite something if Galopin Des Champs was able to regain his crown in the Cheltenham Gold Cup, but I think he's probably going to be up against it to reverse the 2025 form with I Know the Way You're Thinking. It was a really impressive winner that day, and I'm sure like last season it will be a softly build up to the big race with him, but he's a young horse, very little mileage on the clock, time on his side. He's made a satisfactory start, low-key start again to the new season in the John Durkin Memorial at Punchestown. I reckon his best days are still ahead, so for me, I Know the Way You're Thinking is the one to beat again in the Gold Cup.
And the Gold Cup, I'm going to be with Gaelic Warrior. Saw him last Sunday, absolutely top form over in Ireland. I think there's more to come over the trip of 3 miles plus. He spent a lot of his career over just 2 miles, so there may be a lot more to come over the Gold Cup trip.
The Cheltenham Gold Cup
It's what a race it's shaping up to be again, as it always is. I know the way you're thinking was brilliant last year in winning it and getting the better of Galopin Des Champs, and it's correct that he's at the head of the market this year. I think that maybe Lecky Watson is a horse who could spring a little bit of a surprise. He won the Brand Advisory Chase last season. He stayed on really gamely. He's a horse who's gone well at Cheltenham before, and while he was well beaten on his debut this season in the John Durkan Chase, that was over 2 miles 3.5 furlongs, a trip that should be way short of his best. He'll be better when he steps up and trip. He'll probably be better again when he goes to Cheltenham, and he's just a horse again who just might be a little bit underrated by the market.
And in the Gold Cup, I will give one more go to Galopin Des Champs. I didn't think we saw the best of him in the race last year, but I think on top form, he's still the best staying chaser in the division.
In the Gold Cup, I think Galopin Des Champs can hopefully regain his crown. He was slightly below form last year when beaten by I Know The Way You're Thinking. He's going to be campaigned differently this year. I think he's going to miss Leopardstown and head to Tremor instead. And that will mean that he's more lightly raced going into the Gold Cup this year. Hopefully a bit of softer ground will mean that Galopin Des Champs can emulate Corso Star, regain his Gold Cup.
As for the Gold Cup, the big one on the Friday, I Know The Way You're Thinking. Surely they're going to have big hopes of that horse emulating Galopin Des Champs and co by winning the Gold Cup in successive years. He was dominant when supplemented for the race back in March of 2025, but off the back of recent times, I'm going to have a go that I think that this is just going to be the season that the Skeltons wipe the floor with the opposition. And Grey Dawning, whose 24-25 campaign after a grueler in the Betfair Chase kind of went wrong, I think they can have anything but this year. He's already top drawer at Cheltenham, we know that from his novice days, and presupposing he's A-OK from the Betfair Chase and that they do get maybe one more run into him, I'm sure it's all going to be about the Friday of the Cheltenham Festival. And Grey Dawning, I really like for the Gold Cup.
He didn't quite get the 3 last year, Galopin Des Champs. He had a good season. He bounced back at Punchestown. And while it's never easy for a horse to lose their crown and get it back again, I do think Willie Mullins might be the trainer to do just that. I know the way you're thinking. Will he have as good a season as what he did last year? I'm not sure myself. You can win one Gold Cup and maybe disappear. He didn't really show a great deal in the John Durkan on his return. Albeit the trip was far too short. However, Galopin Des Champs, again, I think he'll be prepped for one race and one race only. That is the Gold Cup. It's an open renewal. I don't think the novices coming through are any superstars. So I think in that department, he's still Willie Mullins' strongest hand, and that might well be enough. So hopefully, despite getting beat last year, the Gold Cup will be Galopin Des Champs again in 2026.
And in the Gold Cup, well, I think this is extremely difficult. My heart would obviously love to see One Day Factor File run the race, because I still think he might be that good. But I think that Gavin Cromwell will get I Know The Way You're Thinking back to his best when it comes to the Gold Cup. I was encouraged by his run in the John Durkan, and I feel that when he gets back to the Gold Cup, we'll see the real deal, and I think he'll repeat his success in the race from 2025.
In the Cheltenham Gold Cup, I think it's going to be business once again for I Know The Way You're Thinking, who beat Galopin Des Champs in the race last year. I see no reason why that form should be reversed. I think he was most impressive in the Gold Cup last term, and despite a slightly underwhelming run in the John Durkan, we all expected that to happen because he's a horse who's going to peak come March at Cheltenham, so I think he's the one to beat once again in the Gold Cup.
In the Cheltenham Gold Cup, I'm going to go back to Galopin Des Champs. Age may not be on his side, but the way he won his first 2 Gold Cups, just so impressive, and he definitely wasn't at his best last year. I think a season that is shorter this time around will leave him a fresher horse come the festival, and I'm hoping that he can bounce back and become just the second horse to regain the Gold Cup.
Whether Galopin Des Champs was at his best last season, I think is a doubt, but that said, I think in I Know The Way You're Thinking, another year on, will still prove a formidable opponent once more. He was hardly sighted last season, including on the racecourse, or even in his races, often never involved. But he came good on the day that mattered, and whilst some might have put it down to something of a fluke, I'm absolutely not of that opinion. Reappearance in the John Durkan, something of a write-off, that will put him spot on for later targets. But I do think that later target primarily is going to be a repeat at the Cheltenham Gold Cup rather than anything in between. I feel like he, at the moment, with a slight drift after his reappearance, is the horse that everybody has got to beat as he goes to add his name to the long list of back-to-back Gold Cup winners.
Okay, for the Gold Cup, well, I think it's looking pretty open at the moment, but another one of those that I think let's not write off what is already proven. And Galopin Des Champs, who he's just an absolute beast. For whatever reason, in last year's Gold Cup, I didn't think he looked comfortable from a very early stage. But he managed to sort of bounce out of that and come back with a win at the back end of last season at Punchestown. I can't wait to see him back in action. He's just got a big heart. He stays so well. And I just think he's still the one that they have to beat. At a bigger price, I do think that Grey Dawning came back with that impressive victory in the Betfair Chase this year, ridden probably with a little bit more patience to try and use that turn of foot. Another year on his back will have done no harm. I think he'll probably stay better this season, and tactically I think the Skeltons will be slightly more aware to hold on to him for as long as possible. He's still a sensible price, so if I was looking at an each way angle at this early stage, I'd be looking at Grey Dawning, but I still think they all have Galopin Des Champs to beat.